Okay, so the right method, students. I'm here in Redwood City, and you know, this is not just a place on a map, right? Now, normally when you look at a map, Google Maps, bada boom, bada bing, bada bum, within 5 minutes you can plan an entire trip. Okay, I'm going to take the train up to here or the plane, and then I catch an Uber and I'll be there in 30 minutes. I'll visit my mom, I'll take an Uber back, and then I'll be on my way home. Well, yeah, that's one way of looking at it. Flying over the top of everything. And that's how sometimes we think of our essays. But oftentimes it takes the fact that we've had to work for something that will help us to be better in the game itself. So let's bring this down to earth. It took me 3 hours to get here because I had to take a bus from my dad's house to the BART station. From the BART station to the bus. The bus drove for about an hour and 40 minutes. Dropped me off at the Redwood City Transit Center. From there, I walked to Safeway to pick up some fruit. Back to the station on a bus. Dropped me off so I could walk. Now, it seems like a lot of effort, doesn't it? But that's the proper way to think of travel. Being there on foot. Knowing what that travel does to your feet. To your time. And getting involved. Getting deep. What does that mean for you as a student? Well, it simply means that you might outline something briefly, but you need to take that time to write the draft. You need to get in the nitty and gritty. You need to get your feet wet. You need to dive in. Just like I'm taking 3 hours to travel here. And then what happens is, when you're in the thick of the writing, is ideas come to you. It never would have occurred to me that in the future, instead of trying to figure out how to get to Redwood City from Pacifica, that I might make Redwood City, where my mom is, the whole of the trip, the main part of the trip, and maybe I visit my dad on the side. Because up to this point I was making the visit to my dad's place, which is the house we grew up in, the main focus. And then thinking, okay, well, I'll try to visit my mom during that time. But that's really backwards. And so when you're in your essay, when you're in those paragraphs and you're telling that story, you as a student are going to care about the characters because you're trying to make that story happen, and something's going to happen. The grammar, dialogue, all of those things are going to become real to you. They're going to matter to you. You see where I'm going with this? We often think as teachers of where we want our students to be in terms of the power standards or the California or the Florida or the Connecticut standards. And we start with the long view. We start with the big view. But in my tutoring, I like to take students and give them a lot of practice with the actual writing. Then what happens is they begin to ask for help. Like, how can I make this paragraph work? How can I make this sentence work? How can I make this story work? Now, parents, isn't that what we're looking for with kids? Aren't we looking for them to ask for help instead of us force-feeding it or suggesting? Absolutely. Well, this is one of the techniques I use in my tutoring and in my teaching, is that my students, I'm looking for my mom's place, my students actually are motivated to ask for grammar help. They are motivated to learn about commas. Why? Because it matters. And they care about that piece of writing. And so that piece of writing is going to be evaluated by me. And they're going to have to present it to the class, not necessarily as a speech or something like that, but just say, hey, I'm done with mine. I'm done with mine. I'm done with mine. Because it's an online group session for the tutoring. So, and that I found work really well with students if I can give them feedback today, not next week, not a week from now. And so you have to ask yourself, are your students at school getting the frequency of practice with writing that they need to increase their skill level? Are you with me? The answer is no. They probably are not. Teacher has, 4 groups of 30? Or 5 groups of 25 students? Or let's say they're really lucky to have 3 groups of 20 students, which is rare. But they're still going to have to make that decision. Do I give the students what they really need, which is frequency of writing? Well, most teachers I know don't give that much practice because most teachers are stuck in traditional grading. They feel that they have to grade everything. And there's tricks to that as well. So that's what's worked for my students. My students show up to my class today. They write. I give them guidance. I actually let them struggle a little bit. But I'm always there with the helping hand. Because I know when there's that productive struggle, what Vygotsky called the zone of proximal development. The zone of proximal development. Where students are struggling, that's where they learn. When you go to the gym and you're pulling your weight, the following day your muscles are hurting because they're rebuilding themselves, and that's what builds muscle. Because you're pulling those muscle fibers apart and the body is growing that new tissue in between those stretched ligaments. And that's what grows us. We have to be stretched. And so, all right, well, no doubt I have contact information below this video in the description. I have a very simple process. We just ask each other a couple questions back and forth, parents and I, to see if my tutoring or my tools are a good fit for your student in high school. And if it feels like it is, then we just schedule a strategy success session, 15 to 45 minutes long, with the student, with the parent, or the parents. And we go over the goals, the frustrations, and we pair those up with a roadmap for their success. We give them tools. You walk away with a roadmap. And at the end of that session, if you like what you hear, we go over some options. I might suggest the tutoring, I might not. I don't take all students. So don't worry about a sales pitch. Just think about real strategy. All right? So that's how I do business, and that's how I help students.